Welcome back to another episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Madison Olms, with our forecaster, Gavin Sandel. Gavin, we've seen some seasonably warm temperatures this past week. Can you tell me what the weather's going to be looking like for this upcoming weekend?
Well, you're absolutely right. We have had temperatures really above average. Wednesday and Thursday especially, it has been in the 60s, flirting with that, as they say. And as we go into the rest of the week, we should get cooler. Friday we will have a chance of a little system with rain coming in. Though if you are going to the Penn State-Rutgers game this Saturday, it should look good. Little chance of rain in the evening, but as you get into the morning, might be a little damp in the tailgating lots, but it should look pretty good for the game.
All right, well, let's hope for a win against those Scarlet Knights. How's the weather looking for next week as well?
Much cooler for sure. Otherwise, there might be a system in midweek, but it should look pretty good and pretty cool compared to average.
All right, sounds like a plan. Up next, we'll have Nature in the News.
The first lake effect snow event of the season occurred this Tuesday morning over New York and Pennsylvania. With its occurrence, we have gotten into the time of year when the lake effect snow machine turns on. According to the National Weather Service, lake effect snow occurs when chilly air moves across the open waters of the Great Lakes. As cold air aloft passes over the unfrozen and relatively warm surface, the mild air rises and becomes unstable. Clouds then form and grow into narrow snow bands that can produce 2 to 3 inches of more of snow per hour. Lake effect snow most frequently occurs over the Great Lakes, giving way to belts of snow to places like Buffalo, Erie, Cleveland, and Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Tuesday's event was unorthodox, as the prevailing winds trended more so southerly than easterly, giving the Pocono and Catskill Mountains an uncommon taste of lake effect snow. Though the Northeast will see precipitation this week, it'll be well too warm for any lake effect snow. So any chance of that will come later next week.
New images from space will have you in awe. The Euclid Space Telescope has released new images showcasing its ability to take crisp pictures of galaxies and star clusters. The telescope is stationed 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. Euclid launched in July with the state-of-the-art visible light camera. This is a part of a 6-year project put on by the European Space Agency. The hope of this mission is to study the universe's large-scale structure to better understand the mysteries of dark matter and dark energy. Both dark matter and dark energy subtly influence the shapes and arrangements of galaxy clusters, which collectively form filaments, sheets, and voids that make up a cosmic web. The first images focus on what's visible, which are spiral galaxies and elliptical swirls of stars. There is much more to come from this mission, and hopefully we won't have to wait light years to find out.
Widespread rain on the Gulf Coast is helping to alleviate a historic drought. Since August, Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi have gone through a period of an exceptional drought, as noted by the U.S. Drought Monitor. This level is the highest on its scale of drought severity. As of the November 7th report, 73% of Louisiana and just under half of Mississippi's area is at exceptional level. This week, an area of low pressure formed south of Florida, bringing doses of rain to the Gulf, including the drought-stricken North Gulf Coast. Much of the rain came through on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but locations in Mississippi also received showers into Thursday. Coastal flood warnings were issued by the National Weather Service on Wednesday near New Orleans, where the area received around an inch or two of rain. Though this system won't end the drought entirely, it's a step in the right direction for those who have been impacted by the sudden dry spell.
Our changing climate is taking a toll on the snow business, and that may lead to no business. As we head into the winter months, businesses need to prepare for the weather to come. Since the late 1990s, 604 ski resorts in New England alone have closed. Tremendous variations in temperature can lead to low snow years and eventually put a snow-relying business under. This isn't the case for just ski resorts, but other businesses as well, such as snow removal companies and winter recreational equipment manufacturers. Pursuits like snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and ice fishing are a few recreational activities at risk. Less snow and warmer temperatures mean that the need for equipment for those activities will be less and less, cutting into sales for many businesses. However, a warming climate does not necessarily mean that there won't be any extreme snowfalls, especially in regions of higher latitudes. Needless to say, snowfall or not, these snow-relying businesses will continue to adapt as the climate continues to change.
As we head into the beginning of the weekend, the sky should look kind of like what it is behind me, a little bit of blue with a lot of grays, though as we go into Friday afternoon, that's when the grays will start to take over. Let's time it out with this cold front that's draped all across not only the Northeast, but the Ohio Valley going in really as you go down south. That's due to a low pressure system that's situated up north in Canada by the Hudson Bay. This will bring rain for our area, and as you go maybe into Friday afternoon, into the evening, your commute out of school, and for those who are going home for break, that's coming up this weekend, especially if you are going west towards Pittsburgh or Cleveland, that's when you should expect the rain. If you are going east, you might avoid the rain. Just the afternoon and evening commute is when you should expect it most. As we go into Saturday, though, that's when that cold front will start to move east. It will become much cooler in our area, and if you're in the southern New England, Long Island, especially places up north like that, that's when you guys will see the rain going into Saturday. A low pressure system also, that's coming from Florida. There was a tropical system that it was churning down there, but as we go into Saturday, that's when we'll start to see that. Won't make any impacts on land, though, and if you are in the upper New England areas such as Maine or New Hampshire, you will see some snow. In our area, though, for the Rutgers game coming up, it should look beautiful. Much cooler, though, and let's talk about that. The tailgates, it should be 40 degrees. The grounds and the parking lots might be just a little bit damp from the rain the night before. However, as we go into kickoff in the fourth quarter, it does kind of look like the forecast for the Michigan game. But the one difference I want to say for that, and I hope, is that we will forecast a Penn State win. Let's time out Sunday as well. That high-pressure system that was over the Midwest will now traverse its way into the Ohio Valley, bringing cooler conditions and the precipitation other than just a little bit of snow up in the upper New England areas. This whole area map should look nice for Sunday, and this should be the theme as well. I'll talk about that in my extended forecast. The beginning of the week next week should look good. Let's time it out. Friday, 58 degrees. That's when the rain will begin due to that cold front, and the afternoon rain, maybe in the mid-afternoon to midday. That's when you should start to see impacts here in State College. Overnight, the rain will exit towards the midnight to late night hours, and it will go down into the 30s. No snow expected here or in the upper terrain either. For the Penn State game against Rutgers, 45 degrees is your expected high, and it should look good. Hopefully, it'll be even better for a Penn State win. Let's talk about Saturday night, though. We will dip our toes into sub-freezing temperatures, and it will feel like winter, especially here in this stage of November, but 31 degrees is your expected low. Sunday as well is kind of looking like Saturday with those mid-40s temperatures and a nice sunny day and an amazing end to the weekend. Ben Iaia has a feature coming up about Thanksgiving foods. Let's kick it right to him.
Thanksgiving is here, and Pennsylvania is a cornucopia for many Thanksgiving favorites, and we can thank Pennsylvania's climate for that. Pennsylvania ranks among the top states for Thanksgiving food production, such as pumpkins, potatoes, corn, and apples. Weather at the beginning of the growing season is crucial for the end of the year crops, as farmers need the right conditions to start the entire season off right.
Weather impacts us from beginning to the end of the season. It's actually super crucial in the beginning of the season that you get the correct weather to really get things started properly. This year we did not have the correct weather. It was a miserable spring. It was very cold and dry, which nothing likes cold and dry. Certain things like wet and cold, but nothing likes cold and dry. And so it was actually a very challenging year because of how we started. So no, the beginning of it makes a huge impact on the rest of the growing season.
According to the Rockefeller Institute of Government, Pennsylvania is the 10th largest producer of sweet corn in the country. Like all other crops, weather did have a role in this season's sweet corn yield.
When you're talking about sweet corn, every bit of that growing cycle, it's a very short season. They're an annual plant, so they're only coming up once. So every part of that is important. We had a lot of problems with this spring with the sweet corn because it was so dry it would not germinate. So we actually had to start irrigating it very early, way earlier than I ever have. So we were very late getting our sweet corn started. Once it came up, then we got lots of rain. Sweet corn likes it hot and wet. And so at the end of the day, sweet corn is fine so long as you have moisture. And so we had that. So at the end of the day, we actually had pretty good yields on the sweet corn. It was just late and the timing was very off.
For Thanksgiving dessert, pie is a staple, and Pennsylvania is no slouch when it comes to the apple and pumpkin scene either. In fact, Pennsylvania ranks 4th in the nation for apple yield and 2nd in the nation for pumpkin harvests.
Apples are one of those things that they decide what their growing season is going to be based upon when they want to start blooming. This year, everything bloomed very early because we had a lot of warmth early, followed by the cold and dry. So they start in April, basically with their starting towards bloom, and then they bloom this year actually in April. It wasn't even May, what it typically is. So they start, and then we have to take care of them all summer long, and we harvest them. We're actually just finishing harvesting here at the end of October, beginning of November is when we typically finish our harvest of apples. And then we store them through Thanksgiving. And then pumpkins are pretty much the same as apples. They just start a little bit later, but they finish up at the same time here in October.
Growing seasons matter, as the most popular Thanksgiving foods are harvested during autumn, and history may explain why certain foods are seen as typical for this time of year.
Apples and pumpkins are a mid to late fall crop where their harvest season is that September, October, and that's why I think you see so much of them in the Thanksgiving meals, is because back before we had all the fancy refrigeration and all the different things we have now, they were kind of the last things to come off, and that made them very popular in that mid to late fall, early winter time frame.
Thanksgiving foods are not just a fall staple, but they also allow farmers to earn their livelihoods. Weather plays an important role in all of our food production, and we can thank the weather and the farmers for allowing us to enjoy our Thanksgiving feasts. For Weather or Not, I'm student meteorologist Benjamin Iaia.
Apart from Friday, the rest of the weekend and going into the week as well should look generally favorable. Let's take a look at that. Friday, like I said, we should expect the afternoon rain if you are traveling either outbound from campus, if you are going home for Thanksgiving break, if you're a student, or if you're going into campus as well for the Penn State-Rutgers game. It should be a pretty messy commute, especially if you're going west. Saturday, for that Rutgers game, though, we should have nice calm conditions, maybe a little damp at the tailgating lots, but 45 degrees will be your high, as well as Sunday. 2 good days for the weekend, and as we head into the rest of the week, next week, Monday we'll see some overcast conditions in preparation for a system that we'll see on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're still got a lot to sift through on that one, but there's a little non-zero chance that we might see some snow here in State College, though the general likelihood is that we will see rain. Thursday and Friday as well look pretty cool. Thursday, especially on Thanksgiving, we should see maybe a high of 40 to 45 degrees. Much cooler than average, though, Madison. I want to talk about not the coolest Thanksgiving we have had on record in State College.
Yeah, that's what we'll be talking about in our Weather Whiz Quiz question this week. So the question that we have is, what is the coldest Thanksgiving that we have on record in State College? Was it A, 25 degrees, B, 28 degrees, C, 31 degrees, or D, 32 degrees? If you guess B, 28 degrees, you would be correct.
Wow, 28 degrees on Thanksgiving. That is very cold. It really seems like a Christmas day here in State College.
I know, I couldn't imagine, especially preparing all that food for friends and family to come over.
Oh, absolutely. That would be a mess. And, I mean, the people who are watching football, too, and if they're doing anything outside, that's just chilling.
Yeah, I know a lot of families tend to do football scrimmage games outside, so that could get a little chilly if that was the case.
Absolutely. And I know, speaking of Thanksgiving, we have a special show for you guys lined up next Thanksgiving.
Yep, and that'll be out of the studio, so you'll see the Whether or Not team in a different habitat. That's all we have for this week. Thank you for watching, and you'll be seeing us next week in our special weather episode.